Good evening and welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the Think Show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so-called African American didn't find his way to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous One. Tonight, we're going to look at time. Because what you're seeing now with this so-called African American, remember, African American, Black, Negro, colored. These were all words used to erase the people from their land. And African Americans, the final straw, because when you name yourself after somebody else and you take that name or take that title or whatever it is that they give you, you're taking on that persona. Here's an example. So you know how people say, Black king, black queen. Well, for everything I know from being in those type places and speaking to people who lived in those type places where they had a king and queen, they hated it. Nobody likes the king. Nobody likes the queen. There's always revolts against them. Why? Because they the greedy motherfuckers who pimp the people. Simple. I mean, history tells you that. So then when we take it and we wear that crown ourselves, we look like idiots. Because we no culture. What's the African American culture? Where's the African American dominated on the planet? Crickets. Where has the African American set up an army? Crickets. What has the African American done the past since they were created? 1988, let's be real, that's when the African American came on the scene. Before that, they were called Black. Horrible word, yet some of us still hang on to that word today, like we invented it. We don't even look up the etymology of the word. Where'd it come from? Somebody throw us a bone out there and we suck the marrow out of it. Negro was your designation before that. And you see how they treated you. It's like they're treating you now, like you're treated now, because you do not define yourself. Somebody always defining you. If you tell a black man he ain't a black man, he'll bite your face off. That's how emotional we get up into words and stuff. We don't know what we doing. We making ourselves look like asses on the world stage. Because you are the soul people. You are the people that everybody look to because everybody wants to be. I mean, we know this. We know this. So why is it that everybody is running to you to get your resources and they getting them? They eating them up and you just tossing them out like candy to them. Because you don't have your own culture. You don't have your own time. You don't have your own reality. You don't have who you are. You are always trying to be somebody else. Amen? Right? You're always trying to be somebody else. You Greek, you Egyptian, you African, what's that? You the Asiatic black man. We'll be here all night if we pulled up the titles that Negroes call themselves. It, I'm sure it's over 100. And just imagine those 100 cells going their own separate, and they won't touch nature to get back in sync with what's going on. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight, time. So if you notice, Europeans, they have their own time. Asians, they have their own time. The Muslim world has their own time. What you call the African American, they get their time from somebody else, and proud of it too. So when you see a Negro celebrating New Year's in the dead of winter, you know he's an idiot. It's not that, I mean, animals know that you don't celebrate New Year's in the middle of winter. Animals know this, but we don't. But we get mad because we start yanking them chains, y'all. Y'all better start breaking this information off to people out there, because they have seen. You can ask the civil rights kids, this ain't what they thought it was going to be. You integrated into the wrong thing. That was a time for us to do great things, but you wanted to be with other people. You wanted other people to integrate into you, and diluted you down, ate you up, told you who you were, told you your history, put up schools. We didn't have to do that. We didn't have to integrate. And when you look at the people, when you look at how they spoke, I mean, I'm talking about the youth. I'm talking about the youth. How they manners they were. It's 180 degrees from what you see now. The women, go back and look at them sisters in the 1930s, the 1920s, 1930s and 40s. Check them sisters and brothers out. It was a whole, that those people weren't African Americans. See that, you see how in their time it changes you. They give you a time, they give you a timeline. Okay. Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois. These were like intellectuals. What's the cast they got out the stage? They do the same thing every generation. That's the way they keep you in check. What's the guy named with the Cornel West? He would be the Booker T. Washington today. Remember, you're just in a cycle. You're in a cycle somebody put you in. They give you the players. They're not really creative, so you just do the same thing over and over and over again. So in Booker T. Washington, they were wanted to be called Negroes. And they put on, you know how they do it, came on TV. I know they didn't have TV back then, but whatever they did for mass communication, they pumped that name. They were paid, you know, like they do now, like they do all these other so-called Negro celebrities. They just get in front of you and tell you anything. And because many of us, the TV is God to us, whatever comes off that TV, if it didn't come off that, if Jesus said it, if it came off the TV, that's how much of a hold that's on the TV with us. And remember, most of our families didn't start getting TVs until like the 40s, 50s. So that's damn near 70 years right there. So a lot of us, that TV's God. So I've seen people fight off what they said on TV. They don't even think about it. They can tell you something now. You wouldn't know nothing about it because you didn't even thought about it. Never think about it. So this is the African American. So what I want to show you guys that are listening, time. Okay, so how we think about time, we don't, like I said, we don't have a calendar. And if you prodded Negroes, hey man, let's make a calendar, they'll look at you like you're crazy. That's how serious we are. Go by time, but what you say, what nature says to you. Not what nature tells somebody else, and then you waiting outside the log cabin waiting for boss to come tell you what's said. That ain't how it works. So nature, what we all use to live. Nature, what we all use to live. On your country, foreigners come and take your resources. I probably wouldn't say take it. You give it to them. That's what the African American does to the resources his great 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 grandmama left them, and she wasn't called no African American. See, that's how they cut the Negro off. Change his name, change everything about him, and the Negro goes with it. The Negro's happy. You can't tell him nothing. They can be what they want to be. And what you see now is what you get. So time. So here's an example. So the people, and study your family histories and stuff, and you'll find some of this stuff. They didn't measure time like I'm a year old. An example would be they would age themselves by moons. How many moons have they been here? That made them think of you. I'm not sure they thought about aging like that. But if you go to certain places in America, it's a whole bunch of so-called African Americans that are over 100 years old. You get down to some of these places in the South, I'm talking about where the people not near the cities, where they don't have a lot of noise, where they're just in with nature. Nature's their light at night. That's what one of them told me. Nature is their light at night. I was like, damn. You got people living. You're so far from it you wouldn't even you. And that's where you come from. And those people, they never had no problem. They never hungry. They never getting stepped on. They do what they do. Those are your people. Those are the people you come from. So to keep that, so you won't know that, they start labeling you Black, African American, Negro, colored. Many of you, if you go look up your genealogy, you'll find your people in those records. Ask Doreen. 2 years ago, she thought she was an African, but she sees her people as the Chickamauga on the census in Louisiana. They think this is her great grandfather. Now you tell the average Negro to do that. Look, you don't tell me what to do. I do what I want. We won't even do it. I know brothers that are Hebrew Israelites. You tell them that, they'll look at you like you crazy. This is one of the reasons why we're all over the place. We're trying to be characters in books. We're trying to be characters in other people's stories. And we're looking like assholes. We're on other people's time. other people tell us what to do. And I don't know about y'all, but it ain't working. Somebody asked me what do I mean that we're being taken off the set? And we're past the part of asking questions, because that's how we play stupid and we ask a whole bunch of dumb questions that you looking at the same thing everybody else is looking at. All that he didn't know. No, it's right in front of you. It's blatant in your face every day. You just don't want to see it and talk about it and come up with solutions to fix all these problems. You just want to talk Bible talk, all that stuff that don't mean nothing. That shit ain't cool. So it used to be you kept time like that. You kept time with nature. Things happened in nature. You checked out, and you might say, okay, I've been on I'm 500 moons. That's my age, 500 moons. So if it wasn't that, it's my birthday. Your birthday is the day you were born. It's over with. It's over with. And we just keep repeating the same thing over and over and over and over, eating the same dusty ass cake over and over again. That's because we're in somebody else's culture. And we arrogant about it. What does your culture say? How did your people? What did they call themselves? And all these names that they tell you, running, feather, and blah, blah, a lot of that's bullshit. When your ancestor used to make children, the children used to be called what the mother and father foresaw in the future. That's how they named their children. It wasn't just you meet a girl at a club, skeet, have a baby, and never see her again. It wasn't that. Those people got to know each other. Used to tell each other what attributes they liked in each other, not just how fat your ass is and all that superficial stuff. What can you do? Can you build a house? If I got my brothers to help you, could you build us a house? You think we even think about that today? Can you fish? Can you get us food? Can you hunt rabbits? Huh? What can you do? I can garden. I can grow all this. We're so far away from that. We're so far away from that. We wouldn't. So what I would say to everybody is find your people. Find out what part of America it is not. It's not what they're telling you it is. Find out where they lived, in what area. Did they live by the Mississippi River? Did they live by an aluminum plant? See, you have resources and minerals all over America. Some of our people come from those places. They were making stuff. They had their own industries. You don't think the people in Louisiana were into the shrimping industry long before they got here? You don't think the people in Baltimore was into seafood, Maine? That stuff's been going on for years. You just don't get it because you just eat a hot dog. So, time. So a person would say, I'm 500 moons. That wasn't looked at as old or nothing like that. We age ourselves because we age ourselves after them. That's why you always hear you always hear the argument, black don't crack. It's a saying that Negroes came up with, black don't crack. It means, sisters 50 can look like they 40, 35. I've seen 60-year-old women had people guessing down that she was in her 40s because she come from a long line of people that she probably worked hard. I mean, so a lot of us have that in our families. We're close to that. You got to find it. Find out where they're from. The reason to find out where they're from, find out where your family is from, is very important because let's say they're from a place in Mississippi. And let's say when they moved all the Negroes up to Chicago, all the Negroes out to California, where those Negroes lived, it was some natural resources found there. How many times do you think that happened? And how many times we don't even. That's the inheritance your people left for you and your children. Guess what you did? I'm going to Hollywood. So, time. You're going to have to make your own time. It's not that it's colored people time. That's not what it is. It's your time. What time you say. Because remember, none of this works without you. None of it. So time, that your thing, that gets to kind of be a routine. It's a routine. Something you do, you can, set your own time using nature as your guide. How are you going to lose? And what's the point of not having no natural instincts at all? What is that about? It's like we hate nature. You have all these foreign people walking all over America. Grand Canyon, you go to Grand Canyon, you might see 2 Negroes there. Huh? We're not into the natural thing. That was trained out of you. Like you were trained to be an African American, that was trained out of you. Of course, it's not 100% but as many of us as it is in America, these parks should be filled with us. So, time. Don't look at time from their point of view. Look at time from your point of view. And when you start doing that, the energy that is sucked out of you, because that's all everybody here's for, to suck that soul out of you. Serious, literally and figuratively. That's all everybody's doing. And you cool with it, so can't say nothing about it. So time. Start looking at nature so you can start, and you'll get it. It'll take you about a year. Pay attention to the moon. Look up in the sky. Earth, wind, and fire. Keep your head to the sky. I was telling you something. Keep your head to the sky. Always know your position. And remember that Caribbean, that Florida, Caribbean, Central America, remember all that used to be one landmass. Better find out what happened. Find out what happened. If you have a good eye, you should see it. So time for us is not what it is for everybody else. See, you don't celebrate the Chinese New Year. You don't celebrate India's days. And see, they're bringing that over here. And normally what those people are doing, they're in religious wars and all that stuff. And guess who's going to get caught right up in the middle? Pay attention. What time do you say it is? We'll be back tomorrow night with Phoenix Moon. We don't have Phoenix Moon on tomorrow night. You guys have a good night. And remember, time. What do you say? I mean, you got to say something. You just can't take orders for the rest of your life. All right. Peace.